Hello, my name is Sushma and I wanted to talk a little bit about fermented liver for your animals today. We got our dogs about mid-November and we've been feeding them a completely raw, species appropriate diet. And one of the things that has really been helpful, especially for the younger dog, because he was scratching himself so much, was fermented raw liver. And as soon as I ran out of the liver, he started scratching himself again. Fermented liver is wonderful. It has a huge amount of health benefits, and you do need organic, pastured, good quality organ meats for your dogs and also for yourself. And there's no reason why you could not make fermented high liver for yourself. The fermented cod liver oil that is made by, what is the name of the firm? Green Pastures. Green Pasture is made in a very similar fashion. So instead of a jar, or rather here's my fermentation jar, instead of a jar, he's got a big vat into which he pours all his livers, and my livers look like that. So these are my livers. I've chopped them into bits. They're in there with the blood, and the dogs absolutely love the taste of blood on my hands. So I'm going to put all these livers in here, and what that's been doing, or what that does for an animal, is you've got vitamins, minerals, enzymes in this food through the roof. Liver has many hundred times more, many thousands of times more vitamin A, the B vitamins, than pretty much any other raw animal food. And when you ferment it, you get bacteria in this, and the bacteria are awesome. The bacteria prevent cancer, the bacteria help with digestion. If humans eat it, these bacteria make your neurotransmitters for you, and so many people get a kind of a high, but it's not a drug-induced high. It's a high that is caused by the stuff that the bacteria in fermented livers and other organ meats produce. It's very, very therapeutic, very delicious after you get used to it, and it has a bit of a smell, but many times when I ferment things, they don't have a smell. So what I would do is maybe ferment it. It carries on being fermented for several weeks actually. So what I'm gonna do is show you how I load up this jar with liver bits, and where I put in the fridge, and I'll start giving this to the dogs right away. And as it gets more and more fermented, the nutritive qualities of this raw organ meat are going through the roof. And if you don't want a dog with cancer or tumors or heart disease, and you want your dogs to live longer without, you know, $10,000 radiation chemo treatments for doggies, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. This is the way to get nourishment into your animals. So I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to show you what I do here. So this is the jar. I'm going to put, this is the liver. I'm going to put the liver into the jar here. And as you can see, my hands are getting really bloody. This is pork liver. You should try look for bovine liver as well for a variety. But look how beautiful. Look how beautiful this liver is. There's no worms. There's no liver flukes in this liver. Folks, if you source your livers appropriately, you will have the most amazing medicine that you can get for your dog. So it's as simple as that. I'm going to leave this open in the refrigerator. Richard was a little bit grossed out by it, but now he's used to it because the dogs love it so much. And I want to show you, this is a special treat for the dogs, and I'm going to show you how much they love the sort of the juice of the liver. And here is Travis licking my hand. And I have to be very fair to both the dogs, and therefore I have to give some to Roxy as well. And I'm gonna give her a few licks. She's an elderly dog, so she's about 11 years old. Roxy, here you go, baby. She licks much more daintily. You notice they're not biting my hand off. And they love it. The dogs love it. It's a special treat for the dogs. So this is raw meat, raw organ meat for the dogs. I'm gonna turn in, as you can see, now they're my slaves for life. Roxy's gonna follow me around until I give her another bit of liver, which I'm not going to because I just finished feeding them. So this, in short, is how you make high liver, fermented liver. In the next 3 or 4 weeks, it'll become much more gooey. It'll have a smell, but it's not a bad smell. When raw meat ferments, it's actually a pretty nice smell. The other thing to note is pathogens. What about pathogens? First, number one, source your liver appropriately. Source it from a good source. When you're cutting the liver, do a eye check. You want to do an eye check to make sure it's a very healthy liver. Thirdly, yeah, you talked about sourcing. And then keep it in the fridge. You can also ferment it on the counter, but the ambient temperatures in our house are 64 degrees, and so it's going to ferment a little bit faster. So I could easily leave it on the counter and have it ferment a little bit faster, but I want this liver to last 7 or 8 days at least, if not more, for the dogs. I'm gonna slow ferment it in the refrigerator. The pH of a dog's stomach is 2, which is a highly acidic pH. The other thing is our attitude towards pathogens. Salmonella, Clostridium. I know this is a little bit strange. This is a little bit strange to say we must welcome pathogens into our life. But yes, your microbiome is made of pathogens as well as friendly guys. The vast majority of them are friendly guys. And every time you take antibiotics, you're wiping out your good gut bacteria and giving your pathogens free rein in your body. But the pathogens play a very, very big and important and therapeutic role in your body, which is they keep your immune system active and going. So you will notice that people on long and high doses of antibiotics frequently develop cancer. Smokers who take antibiotics for their bronchitis or pneumonia in winter will develop cancers. And smokers who just go through it, the body takes out the muck. The bronchitis is really the body's reaction to the smoking, to the toxins from the smoking, and it's getting them out. When you get in the way of the body's immune system, then you develop all kinds of autoimmune disease, all kinds of cancers. And so it's very, very important to welcome pathogens as well as good bacteria, virus, fungi into your body, and particularly into your alimentary canal. Now, you're not going to inject these into your body. Vaccines is where these kind of things get injected into your body, and then they're bypassing your immune system entirely, and that's a very bad thing. But your alimentary canal is geared to deal with bacteria, fungi, viruses. 85% your gut-associated lymphoid tissue is your immune system, and it's located in your gut. And it gets very strong and sturdy when you bring on these kinds of things into it. The other thing is the effect of epigenetics, which is that the bacteria that these fermented meats and other ferments bring into your gut talk to your genome. So about 15%, let me repeat that, about 15% of your genetic messaging comes from microRNA in your gut bacteria that talk to the DNA in your body, that tell your body to turn on or turn off genes, that tell your DNA to release certain metabolites or not. About 15% comes from your food. So doctors might tell you food is not important or bacteria are bad and they must be sterilized. I was going to say anesthetized, sterilized out, but they are the very fundamental basis of life. If you have gut bacteria, you have an immune system, you have your health. If you don't have them, there are no microRNA communications between these and others. The other thing that the bacteria do for you is they allow you to digest things that you do not have digestive enzymes for. So you find Africans who can digest, insects. You and I probably could never digest insects because we've not eaten them, but they have bacteria in their gut that allow them to digest and metabolize these insects, thereby turning those insects into short-chain fatty acids. So they're eating insects, but really they're eating very high-quality short-chain fatty acids as a big part of their diet. And all of these butyrates, etc., are made in your large intestine. So you want to respect the bacteria in your life. You want to especially respect the bacteria in your dog's gut and your dog's life. I noticed that our dog, who we did not think was doing very well, is much more alert. She's 11 years old. She's much more alert. She runs now. She never used to run before. She's got a lot more energy now, and that's as a result of giving them foods that nature intended for these animals and not messing with their gut bacteria, giving them things the way they were intended to be given to them. And it's the same thing with humans. I would recommend for people with chronic degenerative disease, cancer, multiple sclerosis, IBS, Crohn's, celiac, diseases of the gut in particular, eat bacteria. Eat fermented and high meats. You will feel a whole lot better. You will detox faster. You'll detox your pesticides and your vaccines and your fertilizers, your asbestos exposures, the various toxic exposures that you've had can be detoxified through the amino acids that are made here, through the bacteria that are generated that actively help you fight disease. So here's to your good health, and I hope you're inspired to make some of these ferments. They're actually very, very good for your pets. Oh, you can do it for your cats too. So cats love this even more. Ferment some fish, but keep it away from your family refrigerator because someone might object to it. But eventually, when people see the results, they'll get used to them. So here's to your good health, and hope you try some high meat fermentation.